Congressman, always good to see you. Thanks for coming on this morning. So look, obviously, there's been so much attention on people crossing the border illegally, physically, walking across the river, rightfully so. Visa overstays have kind of flown under the radar a little bit, and there are millions of them. And you and I have talked about this before. The vetting the last several years just either wasn't there or there was very little of it.
No, I think this terrible event is because of three things. One, it's the visa overstay and this open border policy the previous administration had. But you covered it more than anyone. You know how bad it was. The whole country knows. It's why I think one of the key reasons President Trump was elected on November 5th. So I think that's part of it. But I also think it's this crazy moral equivalence that the left talks about, that somehow Hamas is equal. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And then finally, I think the third reason is, of course, what's taught and frankly tolerated on these college campuses, which you've covered as well. So I think that altogether is what led to this terrible, evil act that took place in Colorado. Our focus has got to be making sure that we do look at this visa overstay, as I think you had Chad Wolf on earlier, who said, like, this is something that has to be extreme vetting, serious vetting has to happen for these people when they come in, and that they overstay. You got to go. Yeah,
and this is kind of calling concern to the idea that the Trump administration wants to carry out these mass deportations and not just target criminals, right? Sometimes people in the U.S. illegally who don't have a criminal background can cause issues. Case in point, some of the headlines stressing the fact that the suspect was here illegally. Some of those headlines include, quote, Boulder attack underscores the urgency of deportations, and, quote, Colorado attack shows why ICE just can't focus on criminals. Border czar Tom Homan says the problem has to be fixed before we see something worse.
The Biden administration will bring people unvetted, handing out work visas like they're candy, while they sat here and planned something bad. We are going to be dealing with this for the next 10 years because of the chaos they created in 4 years. This 2 million known gotaways scares the hell out of me. So I'm convinced something's coming unless we can find them.
And Congressman, this is a concern that goes back decades. I mean, back in 2002, there was another Egyptian national, visa overstay, who attacked the El Al ticket counter at LAX. That's the Israel national airline, shot and killed 2 people. Another visa overstay. Is it time for Congress to look at, like, seriously revamping this system?
And one of the things we did in the big, beautiful bill that passed out of the House, and of course now is in the Senate, the part that came from our committee, we allocated resources from the Judiciary Committee to have 10,000 more ICE agents to help deal with this problem. But yeah, we got to make sure that if they overstay, if you overstay your visa, you're going to have to go back to your native country. You're going to have to be repatriated back.
Yeah, and want to draw attention to some comments on another network. There was a former FBI Deputy Director, Andy McCabe. In the initial moments after this attack, he was a little perplexed that the FBI was referring to this as terrorism. Let's take a listen.
It's hard to imagine that the FBI has more or better information at this point to kind of rush out with the conclusion within like 10 minutes after we all started hearing about this, that it's a targeted act of terror. It may very well be, but most of the time you try to be very careful about attaching that label to an attack until you have solid evidence that indicates a motive that would qualify as terrorism.
So the suspect was shouting "Free Palestine" and literally setting Jews on fire, and they're questioning what the motive was?
Yeah, and this is Andy McCabe. This is a guy who lied to Congress. I mean, this is a guy who was all part of that whole Russia collusion baloney back with Jim Comey. But he's this terrorist throwing Molotov cocktail. Of course he's a terrorist, and he's saying all kinds of anti-Semitic things. The idea that the left question, but this is the left. The left always takes the wrong position, takes the crazy position, and they're going to defend the terrorists and not stand up for the American people who spoke loudly and clearly on the election. And President Trump is doing his administration is doing exactly what he campaigned on, exactly what he was elected to do.
And I do want to ask you about another topic, that being the DOGE cuts. The White House plans to send a federal spending cuts package to Capitol Hill today. That proposal is going to give lawmakers a chance to claw back billions of taxpayer dollars and also codify some of the DOGE cuts. That package pulls back public funds for public broadcasters like NPR, PBS, billions in foreign spending under USAID. Democrats, of course, oppose all of it.
Over and over again, what Musk did with his DOGE is going to cause lasting damage to the American people. He ought to be apologizing to the American people for what he has done.
Jason Chaffetz was here with me yesterday, and I asked him what lawmakers on the left are bringing to the table with this.
are absent of any new ideas and how to fix America and put us on financial footing. Keep in mind, we're $36 trillion in debt. Do they have any plans to deal with that? We have to cut spending in this country, and it's up to Congress to actually codify what Elon Musk has pointed out.
So this rescissions package, a little bit over $9 billion. Again, USAID, NPR, PBS. But the House has a pretty razor-thin majority. Are you confident you can get this over the line and get it codified?
I think we can, and I think this is a good start. I would prefer we had a DOJ, thing every week, every day. I still remember when the president did his joint address to Congress. I thought it was a great speech, but I thought the best part of the speech was when he just rattled off all the stupid things American tax money was being spent. He had that long list. I wish we'd be taking every one of those items and had been doing this, but I appreciate what's coming now. I think it's good, particularly the NPR. Remember, when we had the executive director of NPR in front of the Oversight Committee, I asked her a question. I said, is NPR biased? And she says, no, we're not biased at all. Even though one of their own reporters, award-winning reporter, did an examination of NPR, the 87 editors in the D.C. area, 87 Democrats, 0 Republicans. And she maintained, oh, no, we're not biased. So everyone knows they're biased. They shouldn't be getting your money, your viewers' money, taxpayer money. So this is a good start, but we need several more of these.
Final question, 10 seconds on the answer. Do you anticipate there will be a single Democrat who will vote with you guys for these cuts?
No.
No, not one?
No, particularly with NPR. They love NPR because it's all this, Democrat propaganda network. So, of course, they're not going to vote for that. But it's not fair to taxpayers. And so I think we'll get it done.
Okay. We'll see how it plays out. Congressman Jim Jordan, always good to see you.
Good to be with you.
Thanks for coming in.